One more mathematical video for you. This one talks about sequences and how to use sequences. So if you take out a blank piece of note paper, I don't think that we've talked about sequences before this year, and these get a little more complicated. You know, back in actually 5th grade, I think that was the first lesson. Look how far you've come. You're no longer 5th graders. But you are smarter, wiser, maybe wiser, maybe smarter, I don't know. So anyways, write this on top here. Sequences. Sequences. Poof. And you remember, it was an ordered list of numbers. I'm going to give you an example. We have just a little bit of reviewing to do on that. We're specifically talking about arithmetic sequences today. That's when you add numbers to that. So for example, if your sequence is this 3, 5, 7, 9, ... Just know that, especially with arithmetic ones, we're talking about just adding or subtracting here. Please know, just common vernacular here, the 3 is what we call the first term, because obviously it's the first one. You know, the 5 is the second term. This would be the 3rd term, and that's the 4th term. And then if you look at how you go from one term to another, you know, for example here, each time we're just adding 2. Okay, that adding 2 is what we call the common difference. So the common difference in this case is 2, because that's the difference in the terms, and you could get it easily by subtracting. Probably that's why it's called common differences. Now, here is what we need to kind of get the gist here. The book will give you some formulas, and we just need to understand some things. So write down this little formula here, and it looks a little like this. A to the nth power, or a to the sub n, sorry, oops, I don't know how that ended up there. A to the sub n equals a to the sub 1 plus, in parentheses, n minus 1 times d. Whole lot of stuff going on there. It's not that hard. We just need to break it down here. Okay. First of all, as I said before, don't think of subscripts like superscripts. Superscripts are the ones on top. They are powers. Subscripts are just ways that we label numbers. Okay. And then when we talk about these sequences, the letter n stands for the number of the term. It is the number of the term. Okay. And the letter D stands for the common difference. D equals the common difference. The common difference. And in this case, when you talk about this a sub 1 is the first term. Okay. So if you went back to that very simple sequence I gave you up here, we could pull some stuff out of that and see. We could fill in the blanks with all this stuff. Okay. And it would look like this. First of all, I didn't ask you for a term, so I'm just going to write this. Here's my blank. A to whatever term equals Okay, a to sub 1 is the first term, so that would be 3 plus n would be the number of term you're wanting, minus 1. And I know my common difference was 2. So shabam. This would be the formula for this sequence up here. So if I asked you this question, if I said, what is the 30th term in the sequence, and I gave you this sequence that we talked about there, we would just have to fill in the numbers, and the only thing we really need is the n. So it would look like this, and I would write a to the 30th, and that's again just a label. You are saying the 30th term, that's what a is, equals 3 plus, I put 30 in for n, you can go ahead and put it in parentheses just because I like to see that, minus 1, and that's all going to be times 2. So doing the mathematical stuff there, it would look like this. The 30th term equals 3 plus 30 minus 1 is 29. I multiply 29 times 2, that is 58. And then 258, I'm going to add that 3. So the 30th term would be 61 in this sequence up there. Feel free to do it. I'm not going to do it all the way out to 30, but it will work. Trust me on that. Let's just go with that. Let's shoot another example at you. I'm going to find a harder one, the one I was looking at there. Here we go. One right out of the book. Find the 10th term. Let me go to a new page here. Here's an example right out of the book. Example. Find the 10th term in this sequence. And the sequence starts off like this: 1, 10, 19, and 28. 1, 10, 19, and 28. Now I know it would be very easy just to write out 10 terms and figure out what it is, but obviously in math we want to actually use a little bit of math here. So I'm going to start out by writing my little formula, and the formula was this: a to whatever term equals a to the first term, a to the first term plus n minus 1 times the common difference. So there's my formula. Now let's throw down all the information that we know. We know that a, the first term, is given to us. It is 1. The number of the term I want up here said the 10th term. And you're going to have to figure out, do a little calculating here. What is the common difference? Well, to go from 1 to 10, I add 9. Does that work for all of these? Yes. Just make sure that is consistent there. So the letter D is 9. So putting everything, filling in the blanks, n is 10. So the 10th, the value of the 10th term here, the first term was 1. To that I'm going to add n is 10 minus 1 times the common difference of 9. So let's do some math here. I get 1 plus 9 times 9, and 9 times 9 is 81, plus that 1 up there. So the 10th term is 82. Shabam. Hopefully that's not terribly difficult for you. I am going to do probably one of the hardest ones I saw here in the example was this one. Are you ready? One last example here. And the example says to find the 11th term in this sequence. And the sequence is, how about this? I'm going to throw a little fraction at you here. 2/3, 1, 1 1/3, 1 2/3. And that goes on and on. Okay, so again, we start by writing our little formula. A to whatever term equals a, sorry, this should be n, a to the 1 plus the number of the term minus 1 times its common difference. Let's not cut any corners. Let's write down, establish our variables here. A sub 1 is 2/3. Gotta like that. First term is 2/3. The common difference, oops, sorry, the number of the term we want is right here. It's the 11th term. And the common difference is, how do I go from 2/3 to 1? What am I doing each one of these? Hopefully you can see each time I'm adding 1/3. So my common difference is 1/3. Here we go, firing everything up here. Let's get this done. A to the 11th term equals the first term, which is 2/3, plus the number of the term I want is 11. Subtract 1 from that, and the common difference is, again, 1/3. So here we go. The 11th term is 2/3 plus 10 times 1/3. And 10 times 1/3 is 2/3 plus 10 times 1/3 is 10/3. I then have to add 10/3 plus 2/3. Oh, look how nicely that works out. It gives me 12/3, and 12/3 equals 4. So the 11th term equals 4. Hopefully that was exciting for you. You'll get a little practice on this a little bit later. All is good. Appreciate you listening so far. And